Hey guys, welcome back to World Cinema Library.
Hi guys, welcome back. Imagine you are traveling through the dry roads of Texas with your friends, expecting a normal journey. But one unexpected stop pulls you into a place where every road feels like a trap. At first, everything looks silent, but that silence slowly turns frightening when strange people and abandoned surroundings begin to feel unnatural. Before you fully understand the danger, you realize that this is a place where escaping is far more difficult than entering. A brutal psychopath is somewhere nearby, and every second slowly turns into a survival test. The fear increases because every direction looks unsafe, and every choice may lead to disaster. What begins like an ordinary road trip suddenly becomes a terrifying nightmare, where staying alive is the only target. And that intense survival pressure is exactly what makes this movie a brutal horror experience from beginning to end. A group of 5 young friends are traveling through rural Texas after returning from a trip, enjoying their road journey with music and casual conversation. While driving through an empty highway, they notice a frightened young woman standing alone in the middle of the road and decide to help her by offering a ride. She enters the van in a disturbed state, speaking nervously and warning them that they should not continue further. Before anyone fully understands her fear, she suddenly takes a gun and shoots herself inside the van, shocking everyone. Confused and terrified, the group decides to find the nearest police officer and report what happened. They arrive at a lonely rural area where strange people begin giving unclear directions instead of proper help. One of the friends goes with a local woman to find the sheriff, while the others stay behind trying to control the panic. From that moment, the peaceful road trip slowly turns into something deeply disturbing. When one friend enters an old house nearby searching for help, he unknowingly steps into the territory of a brutal masked killer who suddenly attacks and kills him without warning. The others begin searching for him, but instead of answers they encounter more strange behavior from the people living there. A local sheriff finally appears, but instead of helping, he behaves cruelly and takes control of the situation in a suspicious way. As night approaches, the group becomes separated, and each person faces danger alone in different parts of the isolated area. The killer, carrying his heavy chainsaw, begins hunting them one after another, while his family members support the horrifying violence around him. Hidden rooms, underground spaces, and disturbing human remains reveal that many victims have already suffered there before. Fear grows as they realize this family treats murder like ordinary life. Every attempt to escape only leads them deeper into danger. Erin, the strongest among the group, refuses to give up even after witnessing the deaths of her friends and begins searching desperately for a way out. She discovers that one injured survivor is still alive and tries to rescue him, but the killer attacks again before they can escape safely. Running through dark buildings and narrow spaces, she finally reaches a house where she learns more about the family's horrifying secret life. Even when she reaches the sheriff for help, she realizes he is connected to the killers and cannot be trusted. Using courage and quick thinking, she fights back, escapes from the house, and enters a slaughterhouse where the final confrontation happens. There she manages to injure the killer and break free from his attack at the last moment. After a desperate chase, she steals a vehicle and escapes with the surviving victim. The film ends with her finally leaving the nightmare behind, while the terrifying image of the masked killer remains unforgettable. Jessica Biel delivers the strongest performance in the film as Erin, carrying most of the emotional pressure from beginning to end. Her acting feels convincing because she expresses fear, confusion, and survival instinct naturally without overacting. As the danger increases, her body language and facial expressions make the audience feel her panic clearly. She also gives the character enough strength to stand out as more than a typical horror victim. In intense scenes, her performance keeps the tension alive and believable. That is why Erin remains the most memorable human presence in the film. Bryniarski as Leatherface creates fear mainly through physical presence, movement, and brutal screen energy rather than dialogue. His heavy build, sudden attacks, and silent aggression make the killer visually terrifying whenever he appears. The supporting cast also performs effectively, especially the actors playing the disturbing family members who add discomfort through strange behaviour and cold expressions. Each friend in the group reacts differently to fear, which helps the survival scenes feel natural. Even smaller roles contribute to the dirty and unsettling tone of the movie. Overall, the cast supports the horror atmosphere strongly and helps the film stay intense. Marcus Nispel directs the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with a strong focus on atmosphere, making the film feel harsh, tense, and visually disturbing from the beginning. His direction avoids unnecessary complexity and keeps the horror grounded inside a raw survival mood. Michael Bay's production support is clearly visible in the polished technical quality, even though the film keeps a rough visual identity. Scott Kosa reshapes the original material into a faster and more aggressive modern horror structure. The screenplay keeps tension moving without losing the core survival fear. Tobe Hooper's original story foundation still remains visible under this remake approach. Because of this combination, the film respects the original fear while creating a modern, brutal tone. The technical leadership begins strongly from the script level itself. Daniel Pearl gives the film one of its strongest technical identities through dusty visuals, dark interiors, and close camera work that constantly creates discomfort. Many shots feel intentionally dirty, helping the environment itself look threatening. During chase scenes, camera movement becomes urgent and unstable, increasing panic naturally. Glenn Scantlebury keeps the pacing sharp by balancing slow fear and sudden violence carefully. The editing never allows tension to drop for too long, especially when characters become separated. Scene transitions are handled in a way that maintains suspense continuously. Visually and structurally, the film stays intense without becoming confusing. This technical balance supports the survival experience effectively. Steve Jablonsky uses background score carefully, allowing silence and mechanical sounds to create fear before music enters strongly. Chains, footsteps, metal sounds, and distant screams become part of the horror design itself. Gregory Blair builds disturbing interiors and rural spaces that make every location feel dangerous and decayed. Karen Nacella supports realism by keeping every character visually natural to the setting. Special makeup effects by Scott Stoddard help injuries and brutal scenes look convincing without excessive exaggeration. Practical SFX remains stronger than digital VFX, which keeps the violence grounded. Limited digital enhancement is used only where necessary, while the yellow-green colour tone gives the entire film a suffocating rural heat. Together, these technical departments create a horror atmosphere that still feels memorable. One interesting detail during the making of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is that many scenes were filmed in extreme heat, and the uncomfortable weather actually helped the actors look naturally exhausted on screen. Jessica Biel performed several demanding running and physical scenes herself, which added more realism to her survival moments. The production team also used many practical blood and injury effects, instead of depending heavily on digital visuals. Because of that, the violent scenes feel raw and physical even today. The dirty yellow-green colour tone was carefully chosen to make the rural environment look suffocating and unpleasant. These production choices helped the film create a stronger, realistic horror atmosphere. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre works effectively as a brutal survival horror remake because it combines raw atmosphere, strong technical quality, and continuous tension without depending only on gore. The film keeps fear alive through its disturbing environment, aggressive pacing, and the constant physical threat created by Leatherface. Even though the story is simple, the execution makes the experience intense from beginning to end. The performances, technical departments, and visual tone all support the horror in a consistent way. For viewers who enjoy dark, rural survival horror, this film remains one of the stronger remake experiences of its period. IMDb rating, 6.2 out of 10. Don't miss the next movie. Like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching.